It's February 1940, the early months of World War II. Europe is tense, but the world hasn't yet seen the full scale of destruction that's coming. Germany, fresh off its invasion of Poland, is preparing for a massive expansion of its war machine. But before that came a disaster so absurd, so tragic, almost sounds made up. This is the story of Operation Wikinger, when Nazi Germany bombed its own navy by mistake. Here's how it happened. On February 22nd, 6 German destroyers set out from the port of Wilhelmshaven. Their orders: sail in the North Sea near the British coast and hunt down enemy ships. It was supposed to be a fairly routine operation, aggressive but nothing crazy. The Kriegsmarine wanted to make a show of force and prove it could defend Germany's coastal waters. What they didn't know was that they weren't alone. Overhead, a group of Luftwaffe Heinkel He-111 bombers were also flying missions in the same area, scouting for enemy vessels. But here's the insane part. No one told them about the destroyers. The Navy didn't notify the Air Force. There was zero coordination. The German military was infamous for its infighting. The Wehrmacht, the Kriegsmarine, and the Luftwaffe were like rival companies, jealous, competitive, and often unwilling to share information. That toxic structure led directly to disaster. As the destroyers steamed through the North Sea, the Luftwaffe pilots spotted them from above. In the poor visibility and rough waters, the warships looked like enemy destroyers, British ones. The pilots had no reason to think German ships would be there, so they did what they were trained to do. They attacked. The destroyer Leberecht Moss was hit first. A bomb tore through the deck and ignited a massive explosion. The ship sank in minutes, dragging over 280 sailors with it. The scene was chaos. Alarms, screaming, black smoke rising from the sea. Another ship, the Max Schultz, rushed in to help, but just minutes later, it either struck a mine or was also bombed. It sank instantly. There were no survivors. Imagine the confusion. German sailors being killed by German bombs in German waters during a German operation. All because one part of the military didn't talk to the other. The rest of the destroyers barely made it back to port. And the worst part? At first, nobody even knew what had happened. The Navy assumed they'd been attacked by the British Royal Air Force or had hit enemy mines. It wasn't until weeks later, after an investigation, that the truth came out. They had bombed themselves. A Luftwaffe unit had mistaken the ships for enemies and dropped bombs without confirming their identity. Even worse, the German high command tried to cover it up. Hitler didn't want news spreading that his supposedly advanced, unified military had made such a catastrophic blunder. But the facts were impossible to hide. 2 destroyers lost, hundreds of men dead, no enemy contact, no British ship in sight. Operation Wikinger became a textbook case of military failure, not in battle, but in bureaucracy and arrogance. And it highlights something bigger about Nazi Germany. For all its propaganda about strength and coordination, its military often crumbled under its own weight, crushed by egos, lack of communication, and reckless leadership. In war, mistakes happen. But when a nation's military turns its guns on itself, that's not just a mistake. That's a catastrophe. And in this case, it was one the Nazis inflicted entirely on themselves. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more amazing content.